Hello and welcome to the show. This is East Tennessee Music Scene on the Rise. I am here by myself. I'm Scott Thomas. Bobby's not here today. He had to be somewhere else, unfortunately. But anyway, we're here with Tater Johnson.
Hello.
I didn't get your name yet. Sorry.
Steve J.
Steve J. And they're here to talk about their project called Jaybirds. We have the nice CD right here.
Yes, we have a CD out, and it's also available digitally everywhere. Wherever you listen to music, you can go check it out.
So let's talk a little bit about yourselves before we go into the band. How did you get started into music? How early in life were you starting to play?
Do you want to go first? You may go first.
Yeah, I started writing poetry in 5th grade and just kept writing ever since then. Learned to play guitar, bass, drums, and many things along the way. But it all started with writing, and that's where my passion lies, really. So,
putting the lyrics to a melody.
Yeah, the words and everything.
It's really awesome. Like I was telling you off camera, I can write a little bit, but I can't put anything into a melody.
And it takes work and a lot of practice.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Sure. But see, I started when I was about 10 years old. I was staying with my granny, and they wouldn't let me watch TV.
Okay.
So she had a guitar that I still have.
Oh, nice.
To this day. It's in my room right now. And I hit my first chords on it. And my aunt played, and I remember being like, there's no way that people actually do this. And she looked at me, and she goes, you'll get used to it. Like she knew something already, you know. So then I played my first band when I was 13. I played my first show actually over on Cedar Bluff. It used to be a Ramada Inn with a bunch of seniors that I went to school with. They wanted me to play in their band. I didn't even have a guitar yet, but I could get around one.
Oh,
good
cool.
enough, you know. I don't really remember a skill set where I was at. I could play Nirvana songs, and
cool.
that band was called Lucky Mother, and that was, and then I was hooked after that.
Of course.
And then high school bands, really that's where my old band kind of came from. We were all in different high school bands, and then we met each other after high school. Met up.
Did you participate in like the high school band, like the drum?
No, like that.
Yeah.
No.
Didn't do that.
No. We played at a venue where now it's called the Preservation Pub, but there used to be called the Mercury Theater, and we used to play shows when we were like 16 years old. Like I've been doing this a real long. That's why I said earlier. I said Jaybirds wasn't even going to happen. I was like, we're just going to make music. I've got a recording studio. I've got my own record label. We're just going to make music, and we're just going to put it out. And I don't really ever care to set foot in a bar again or go play shows again. I've done it. I'm retired, technically.
Yeah.
I did it with my old band till where I absolutely hated it. I just wanted to sit at home and watch Netflix and eat a pizza and not have to be out anywhere. But then, essentially, I went through a divorce, and I didn't really know what to do, and God made it very clear to go to Jellicoe in a way that I prayed real hard one night, and I woke up with a message from a guy I'd never met.
Okay.
And he said, hey, will you produce my band? I thought, awesome. I got some work. And I clicked on his page, and the first thing it said, somebody should rent my house in Jellicoe. And I had been screaming, driving around Oak Ridge, screaming, banging the steering wheel, because I gave away a lot of money. I gave away a lot of money on tour, like homeless people and stuff. When you're touring and you're in cities, there's a lot of homeless people, right? And they're always asking for something. And I always just felt guilty because I was living a life that was a rock star life. So I was just, I've got all of this, and these people have nothing. And I remember the guys in the band used to think I was crazy. They're like, you're crazy. I'm like, I don't care. And I was like screaming at God, you're going to make me regret that. Really? And then the next day I woke up with this message. And he heard my prayer, like for real. Like even people these women that helped my aunts and stuff that helped raise me, when I told them that, they go, really? I said, yeah. It was like so clear to me that I should go to Jellicoe. And actually on the move to Jellicoe, my speaker stands got crushed.
Oh.
And that's how I met Steve. Because basically, there was a guy with the studio out there, and he had an old desk. He said, do you want this desk? I said, sure, I need those speaker stands. And then I waited, probably a month or two, and then I was like, I'm going to go get that desk.
Yeah.
And I go down to get the desk, and Steve's there, I think, cleaning the kitchen.
Yeah.
for studio time.
What's really funny is that the day before this happened is I was having a moment where I have been writing and playing in bands for years at this point and trying, just never really done anything substantial.
Yeah.
And I was kind of having a similar argument where it was like, I think I know what you want me to do, but you make it really hard. So what do you want me to do? And I had music playing and wasn't paying attention. As soon as I said that, the next line on the song said, just be yourself. You know what you're here to do. And the odds of that lining up were so dramatic that I was like, okay, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. So the next day I got a call from this, studio, and they're like, hey, you want to come down and do some work and make a little bit of money? And I'm like, sure, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. And when I get there, he's like, there's a guy coming to get a desk. If you don't care, help him load it up or whatever. I'm like, yeah. So he comes in, and on the ride there, he's telling me, who, what band he was in, and I know who they are, and I'm like, what are you doing here? And he says, God sent me.
Yeah, it really. That's what I thought, and I remember the look on his face. He was kind of like, he looked mortified, and I thought, well, he just thinks I'm some crazy Jesus freak or something. But like, no, in his mind, he was like, I had been praying, and now this guy that's got a gold record on the wall, he's got a recording studio, was in a band that I've listened to, is standing right in front of me, and I'm helping him move his speakers. Really, it was the speaker stands is what I needed. Yeah. So it was like, and he was working at a studio to get studio time. For me, that makes me like you. If you do that, like, that's what it takes. You can't afford it. You can't get, go in there and work. I've dug ditches and stuff at our old producers. I did whatever it took to get our stuff recorded. Yeah. And it was like, and then he was a hardworking guy. And I said, hey man, if you help me clean up this room, because I got this big old house, but this room needed to get cleaned up, and it would have taken me like 8 hours. I said, if you'll help me clean this room, I'll work with you on your songs. He said, don't mess with me, man. I was like, yeah. So he came over. I think we got that room clean in like an hour. Hard-working cat. Hard work. Got it. It was like done. And then we sat down and he started playing. It's on the album. It's called Dance With Me. And he started playing it. And I was like, that's a good song. That's catchy. And then he started rapping. And I was like, whoa, what's that, man? What's that something? There's definitely something there with that. So then it was like, and then I had some suggestions about slowing down because he was rapping so fast. I was like, did a little producing and stuff. Let's lay it down. We laid it down. And then I was like, and not to say anything bad about Steve. I love his voice, but he doesn't have a great singing voice. He's not bad, but he's just not, his rap thing is so strong. And I was like, we had the raps down. I thought, well, nobody's really heard me sing with my old band. Everybody's heard me scream. I did the screaming thing, but nobody's ever heard me sing.
Yeah. Well, what's funny with Dance With Me is I wrote it about 3 years before I met him, and I never intended to sing the hook. I wrote it for someone else to sing. I just didn't know who was going to sing it. I knew I was going to do the verses and have someone else sing that hook because I just couldn't hit those notes the way that I heard them and I wrote them, but I couldn't do it.
Right.
So I always had intentions of someone else. So it's kind of nice how it all worked out to where whenever I did finally get to come back and hear it once he had done all the Tater magic to it, I said, this is exactly how I wrote it. This is exactly what I wanted it to sound like down to the bass notes and everything, all the high notes, little things, the changes and everything. Perfect. Exactly.
Yeah, it worked out. When we just kind of knew we had something. And it really wasn't us saying, hey, we're going to form a band. It was more like, hey, I'm just going to help you make your song happen. Yeah. And then we were kind of like, well, and this was like a year ago. Like we've done all this in like a crazy amount of time because I have a recording studio and I pretty much play all that. He plays everything too. So we switch out, but I play everything. He plays everything. So we don't have to deal with, let's say, the egos of being in a band with 5 different personalities. It's like, all right, I'll do it. Let me program this and do this. Okay, I'm going to play, and work at it. And I've played in a lot of bands with a lot of people, and I've never been able to so easily resolve conflict or say, okay, I want to do this or do that. Or, we've definitely argued, but it's never been malicious. We've been like, nah.
It's more like a debate that comes to a compromise, one side or the other.
Right, and it is. And there's been times I was like, because, I get arrogant about it because I do everything, right? But Steve checks me. He'd be like,
we're both in it to make sure the music is as good as it could possibly be.
He's like, don't do this line. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay. You
Sounds
know,
like
so
a family fighting. Like
family,
you don't come to blows,
Brothers.
but you might,
yeah.
brothers.
We've known each other a year, and yet we feel like we've known each other a
Mhm.
lifetime. Like like there's something special going on that happened with all of it, and it's
Mhm.
been so much fun for me to kind of do the music I want to do and just have complete freedom versus we have to sound like this.
Yeah.
Open tuning, kind of heavy. What is it going to get played on the radio? Like we
Yeah.
don't really care. We don't care if you like it. We like it. We
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's like we want to do. Really, it started out as doing kind of reggae stuff, and I love Sublime. We both love Sublime and stuff like that. So it was like, let's do that. And then then I started pulling back to a little bit of my harder rock stuff,
Mhm.
and then it was kind of like, well, let's just do whatever we want to do, and
Mhm.
because we wanted to keep it kind of reggae. And then we did stuff that was so good. We're like, well, let's just do whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
And it just really, to put an album, to write an album, mix it, master it, and then get it out, and have basically the next two written because we live 5 minutes from each other. So it's like, I got an hour. Okay, cool. Let me pull up whatever we're working on.
Yeah.
So it's really been fun to fall back in love with music again when I really hated it, which is a statement to say being a musician and an artist. But I did. I toured so much with my old band that I just hated it. I was resentful of the songs. I mean, play the same songs for 15 years and try to pretend like they're fun, and it's like they're boring. And it's like, man, I want to just be in a jam band. I want to do Jimi Hendrix stuff. I want to just be free and do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
Versus being like, whoosh, play it, whoosh, play it. All right, go be Tater, go jump around, and it's like, I don't want to do that, man. I just want to play the guitar, and I want to sing now. I like singing.
So Jaybirds is just the two of you?
But on the album, basically, it started out as the two of us, and then we added Cody Hensley, who was in Skytown Riot, it was pretty funny as another arrogant moment on my end where I was like, Steve called it. He was like, there's going to be another guy. And I was like, nah, man, I got it. I'm Tater. I can do all of it. Arrogant, sure. And then I posted something online, and Cody messaged me. And now when we toured with Cody, I knew that he was an unbelievable talent. I've heard him play guitar and trumpet and all and piano and all this stuff. And he messaged me and he goes, hey man, if you ever need keys or trumpets. And I thought, I can't do what that guy can do. I said, yeah man, come hang out. So he would come and we'd do these just marathon sessions because it was like a 3-hour drive for him. So he would drive up and we'd literally just take 12 hours and just go through each song. Okay, trumpet here, organ here, to really make the sound on the album complete. Like you listen to these reggae songs and they have trumpets and stuff that I could maybe figure out a version of it, but nothing to this level to where you listen to it, you're like, man, this really sounds tropical, and really that was it. Then there was no intention of ever, I was like, we're going to put it out. I don't really ever care to play. I play in church. I'm 4 years sober. I spent 15 years in bars and stuff. I have no need. And then, like I said, what we were talking about earlier, it literally was like I wasn't even trying, and the band came together like that.
Yeah.
6 guys in a room, A+ players all around. So good that you can go, okay, we're going to solo here. You get the solo, and they'll solo so good to knock your head off.
Cool.
And really, it was Chris, Cadillac Chris, was the drummer who brought his whole drum set over one day, played one song, packed it all up and left. And I was like, yeah, he's good. All right, I guess I got to do it. He's really good. He's really good. And he brought all those drums over just to play one song to kind of, we haven't even put out auditions or anything. It was like, he was like, man, I want to do Jaybirds. I want to do it so bad. And he did. And he was pushy about it, which is kind of what I needed because I was like, I don't want to do it. And then I had fun when we were doing it. I was like, oh, this is fun. I remember this. This is fun. And it's funny. He knew the song better than we did. Because, when you're recording, you have to know it for about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And then so I'm sitting there like, I don't even remember how to play this. And let alone did I play it and sing it at the same time. Oh my God, I got to figure all this stuff out. So I had a lot of work to do. Everybody did. And it was it was like, well, this is too easy. Like I've played in bands for years and lost members and couldn't, and this was way too easy. So and then it was like, well, all right, let's figure it out. And I put an ad on Facebook. I said, hey, we're looking for a guitar player and a bass player. And the guy who I rent that house from is a phenomenal guitar player, but plays in another band called the Deadbeat Scoundrels. And then he's got some jazz band that he plays. And he plays in like 15 bands or something crazy. And he messaged me and said, oh, I'll do it. I said, I thought you had like 15 bands. He's like, oh, I'll make time for it. I'll make time for it. I was like, really? And I had never really heard him play. And man, he's so good, he makes me mad at him. Like he really does at rehearsal.
He is that good.
He's that good. Like he cut my head clean off. We were doing Hey Joe, and his solo was so much better than mine. And I really got upset, but not really. I was like, I joked. I was like, hey man, I told you you're not allowed to be better than me. And he is. He is the lead guitar player, man. He's so good.
That's cool.
He's so good. We did that cover of Bulls on Parade, and I was listening to his tracks, and I was like, man, this sounds so good. So it's like you got 6 guys. Basically, we put this thing together about 2 months ago. We played our first show last Saturday at Capone's. It was like literally we had about 8 rehearsals, and everybody. It was like a 10 to 12 song set with covers and artists that do like jams.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable. It couldn't have gone any better. That's all I could think.
They're master musicians, each one of them. So
it's the most talented guys I've ever played with. And I've played with some really, and I'm not taking a shot at anybody.
Yeah.
I've played with some super talented guys, but these guys are like just next level. Like Cody shows up to rehearsal like once before the gig, and he's like, I got it. And you're like, yeah, he's got it. He's just that good. And everybody else, we all had to work a little harder, but I remember it was about 2 weeks out, and we came in, we just ran the set top to bottom. I was like, if we can do that, we'll be fine. And it was like 2 months later. So now, we're just kind of working on the next album.
Can we talk a little bit more about your your sound? I mean, you guys have eclectic sound, I'm sure, because of your rapping or your lyricist abilities.
Poetry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everything coming together. You mentioned several different genres of music, but as a whole, you guys all together, what would you tell people that you sound like?
A little bit of everything.
Yeah,
Just
everything.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah. Like you can't really. I mean, it's like you can't really get it on one song. Like but that's where the freedom is in being a band. Like bands used to just go write songs; they didn't have to fit into any mold. And it's like nowadays bands all have to sound the same. But when you go overseas, they have all these different bands on the same bill, and nobody cares. But for some reason here, people get upset. Well, they don't sound exactly like the other band that we came to see, so we don't like them.
So each song of yours could be something different, like
absolutely
reggae or bluesy, or
we want to keep everyone guessing. We don't
well,
that's
including ourselves. To be in a radio rock band for as long as I was in, and to be like, it's got to sound like this because they're going to play it on the radio, versus what do you want to do? What do you want to write? Oh, this sounds cool. What about this? What about that? And just to have that kind of freedom. And then I've got a recording studio, so I also work with other bands and other artists, and I've got an independent label that we're putting all this stuff out ourselves. So we don't really have to answer to anybody. My nickname's Tater, so it's TaterVisionRecords.com, and I'm always looking for new talent. I'm always like singers, songwriters. I can do it all, so I kind of do, like, even if you have an acoustic guitar and just some songs, I can help. I mean, that's where this started.
Yeah.
And I won't make you be in my band, but I might. But it's like, at the end of the day, I've got different singers. I'm working with Christian rappers. I'm working with this one guy who's like the next Jimi Hendrix. I mean, there's a lot of really talented people that God's kind of leading to me. It's not. Cool. I'm not even really trying that hard, and I'm doing better than I was, because we didn't make a lot of money touring. We never did. It's the illusion. Like, you get home, like, there's a bus bill for $60,000. Like, what? 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 That's not paid for? Why did it's not? There's many a tour like that where you get home, like, you didn't get paid, and you got a bill for $90,000 because you were on a 2-month tour.
Yeah.
And
That's got to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, I don't complain about it because I learned a lot about it. I learned a lot about the business and but you kind of have to have a bus to keep up with bus tours. I remember being in a van, I remember having to leave the show early to get to the next place because it was in Texas, like a 500-mile drive.
Yeah.
And we were playing earlier in the day, so. But I have no want to ever go do that again. I play in church. We can go do a show. It was fun. It's exhausting, and everybody gets to go home and
Well, Jaybirds is an up and coming thing, and you guys are out there to get out and do shows once in a while.
Well, yeah, just whenever we see fit, like whenever. I don't really want to fight the weather to do a show in these upcoming months. So it's like
winter is just vacation time for you.
Yeah, winter is just probably just work on more music. I mean, that's the thing about it. Even if we're not playing a lot of shows, we're still going to be making music. Because that's really what it's about. That's what we really enjoy doing is making music and creating.
And if people want to hear the music, do you have it on music outlets like
Spotify,
iTunes?
all of it. Yeah, you can go to TaterVisionRecords.com and play the whole album for free on the Jaybirds page. I mean, you basically have to give it away for free now, but we don't really care. It's like if people dig it.
And people can contact you through Facebook and
social
social media.
And it's
like
we're a brand new band. We've already got 2,500 likes and stuff. It's like there's already we've already got the social media aspect down just because we don't really do a lot of shows, so we got a lot of time to go, okay. Yeah. And before, you used to have to go stand out with flyers. They didn't have Facebook when I was a kid. And stand here at the door and hand everybody that was coming to, to maybe a show before. We used to do it at Blue Cats. We'd sit out there and hand out flyers to people that were listening to a band that was so.
It's pretty awesome that we can get out there through social media, but it's even better whenever you're face to face with somebody to talk to them, tell them about your stuff. That's one big reason why we do this, so we can get you guys out there, people who come to our YouTube channel and subscribe and like. We want everybody to see you guys and hear your music and just.
Yeah, what you guys are doing is awesome. This is great. It's like I was driving here. It's like, for retirement, I'm driving to go do an interview. Like I've technically retired from doing all this, and yet here I am again, sitting talking about music and all that. So it's like it's great, man. I think this is an important thing. You should have a really strong local scene, and that's how my old band made it. That's how I'm getting to be a producer and work in the studio. And
so where did the name come from?
Yeah.
Jaybirds. That was, we started out, Bluebirds, right? Because we saw we were sitting on the porch. I live in this big old house, built in 1900, these big old windows and stuff. So it's got this huge porch, and we always sit out there and write music and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was a big bluebird just came. It was
technically a Jacobin.
Yeah.
I think is what we identified it as.
That's what it was.
Flew back 3 or 4 times, and we went with a few different styles of words, and bluebirds, blue jays, and different things, and they weren't very original, So my wife actually said, "Why don't you guys just be Jaybirds?" And
that was it.
Yeah, we just kind of that sounds
right.
Perfect name for you, right?
Yeah,
right.
It sounds
so we
right.
just went with it, and it's working.
It sounds right. Yeah, but then it's funny because people call it the Jaybirds, and they're like, no, it's just Jaybirds. But it's just I think there's a band called the Jaybirds. I think they did old Motown or something. But I think so. So, but it's funny. I don't really get upset. People used to call my old band 10 Year. They always be like, no, it's Year with an S. That's never mind. It's fine. Yeah, it's okay.
Or Eagles.
Yeah, right.
The Eagles,
right.
Eagles.
Yeah, it was funny because LJ from Seven Dust would be like, and 10 Year. And he was like, and he got really upset. He was like, I can't believe nobody told me. But he was like, later, we were hanging out. We toured with those guys more than any other band, with my old band. So he would be like, I can't believe that, Tater. I'm sorry. I was saying y'all's name wrong. I said, LJ, it's all good, man. It's all good.
Well, we're really glad to have you back out and doing what you do.
Thanks,
whether it be producing, recording, anything that you do for other bands or for your own.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I just want to help people. That's it. I'm always looking for talent, and it finds me, man.
The scene is better with people who help out the scene rather than put down.
Yeah, there's a lot of haters in the world, man. There's a lot of failed musicians in the world. There's a lot. This is like 19-year-old kid that I'm working with, who's this Christian rapper, and he's just so sweet and genuine. And he's like, people have just made fun of his music and stuff. And I said, man, that's just the world. It's like, you can't. You'll have to just get thicker skin, and he will.
Yeah.
But it's like there's just so many failed. The world is filled with failed musicians. And with my old band, we used to get hated on all the time, and message boards. That's when it used to be years and years ago.
Yeah.
Everybody was on message boards going, yeah, they ripped off this band and that band. Everybody's ripping off somebody. You know, that's how you know what bands you like. Like, people are like, well, that sounds like a Hendrix riff. No kidding.
Every band
Right.
that I know of has taken a little bit of something from some other band that they liked about that band and kind of made it their own. I mean,
Sure.
you don't have to sound exactly like it, but if you have a little
Influence.
riff here and there, I mean, you want to show your influences from other bands
Sure.
to show your appreciation for their music.
Exactly.
That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Coming from an outsider's point of view, I'm obviously not a musician, but
That's
I love
how-
the music scene.
That's how you know if somebody's cool or not, though. Like, oh, you like Deftones. Oh, when you're a kid, you're like, oh, you know who Deftones are. You know, oh, okay, you're all right then, or whatever. You know, it's like a badge, kind of. When we were younger, now it's a little more. You know, everybody knows everything because of the internet. When we were kids, it was like, oh, you know about Rage Against the Machine? You know what I mean? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like these guys. Because most people, unless you're a musician or really into music, you didn't really take time to dig into all that stuff.
Yeah.
And if you did, then you were cool.
Because
Like,
you had to physically go to a store, like
right, I
whatever
think there
box
was.
store you might want to think
It
of.
was it used to be disc exchange over here. It's like where we would come down here.
2 or 3 doors up.
Yeah, we'd come down here and like it was like I remember the Tool album came out. Not this. This was a long time ago. Like their last
like
album
20 years
before-
ago.
Yeah,
when it
right,
first
right,
was-
right. Yeah, like Grandpa over here. But but everybody was down there. It was like they come out on was it Tuesday? So it was a Monday night at midnight, and that place was packed, and it was
Yeah.
like such a community, and everybody was so excited. And now
People
it's
want stuff on CD and
now it's kind of it's sad. It's great. The digital world's great because you can really get a mass audience, but it lost that thing of the community. Unfortunately, there used to be more of a community.
it's instant gratification. I mean, you can get online, pull something off there, and you've got it, rather than
Right.
having to work for it and go to the store and grab a CD and say, "Yeah, I like this one. I want to take it with me."
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. Everything's got its pros and cons with
Yeah.
it, but I enjoy it now because now I can record music myself. I don't have to go give somebody $100,000 to do a demo or whatever. Because back in the day, to record music, so you had to have all this crazy expensive equipment. Like the first thing I ever recorded was to 1-inch tape, because they didn't have the computers that could record.
Yeah.
And even when they started, it was like, oh man, this sounds like crap. Give me some tape. And now it's like, well, that sounds pretty good now. It's
Yeah.
like that stuff sounds. Man, that's a fake guitar. That's not even a real amp. And if you really use that as a tool, like I do, I don't look at the computer as like, oh, I'm gonna fix it with the computer. I'm like, I use that as a big effects unit. Like, okay, what can I do to manipulate this sound into something? And I was always into that. I was always into like, making pianos sound like guitars and guitars sound like pianos, and
That's
where
pretty
people
cool.
would be like, "What is that? That's not is that a piano?" I'm like, no, it's a guitar. Just weird, just messing with stuff. And that's one of my nicknames too, was Knobs, because I was always just
Turning knobs.
messing with stuff. Always messing with stuff, making different sounds.
That's cool, man. Well, I'm really glad to have you guys here. 2 out of the 6 of you, I guess.
Yeah, 2 out of the 6. Yeah, because it was like we've done so many. I did so many interviews with my last band. It's like, look, man, all 6 of us can't talk at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's like we should keep it. Look, I've talked most of the time, and Steve has to sit here and just listen to me talk. So, and thank you for doing
No,
something.
man,
Yeah.
anytime.
He's like he does this all the time, right? But it's like there's no reason for all 6 of us to go sit there, and you're just gonna end up sitting there for an hour going.
Yeah.
And then or trying to talk, and then we all end up talking over each other, and it's like It's just like
Everybody has something to say, and they want to say it, but then somebody else needs to say something first.
right. But then it gets into this. I've seen it happen,
Yeah, of course.
and especially if you add in. And I don't drink anymore, but if you add in alcohol to that mix and egos and stuff, well, I said that blah 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 blah, and then you need to have an argument, which is great for
Great for TV.
great for TV, but not really great for the band. So it's like, look, man, we're just gonna go do it because a couple guys were like, "Are we gonna go?" I was like, "No," I was like, "No, I appreciate it, but I'm telling you, you're gonna get there and you're gonna drove an hour and you're gonna sit there and watch me talk, and then you're gonna drive an hour home,
Yeah.
and be like, I didn't get to say anything. Tater won't ever shut up."
Like
Yeah.
I said, it's really good having you guys here, and we want to make sure that everybody listen to these guys. Jaybirds.
Jaybirds.
Not Jay's Bird.
Are the Jaybirds.
Not the Jaybirds. It's Jaybirds.
We should spell it with a U. Jaybirds.
There you go.
Yeah.
But
Maybe if we ever get into legal trouble with the name.
check him out online. Get with him. This guy is a great person to contact about music,
Yeah, if you want to.
producing, anything like that.
Yeah, if you want to record or looking for somebody to produce your stuff, and just get a hold of me. It's really easy. Tater Johnson on Facebook, TaterVisionRecords.com. I'm pretty easy to find. It's not that difficult, especially nowadays.
You might want to send them a message and tell them to get back out and play a show or two.
Well, we're down here right now, so we might talk to them while we're down here.
After the winter weather.
Yeah, I don't want to. Like, we got guys that live up on a mountain.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't want to get hurt trying to do a show.
But guys, it's really good seeing you guys, and I'm glad to finally meet you. I've
Yeah,
talked to you on
yeah, a
Facebook
lot.
so many
Yeah,
times.
for sure, for sure.
First time I got to meet you.
Yeah,
so
it's awesome.
Hopefully we can have you guys back and talk about what you've done.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll bring an acoustic and play a song or something.
That'd be really
Do
cool.
some live music.
Till next time, this has been East Tennessee Music Scene on the Rise. Here with Jaybirds. I'm Scott Thomas, and we will see you next time. You said a stupid nickname, so I didn't know.
No, it's a stupid nickname, but it works.
I know.
I might make a joke that, well, I told you to call me Ryan. That might be kind of funny. I'm just kidding.
I know a girl that gets called Tater because her name's Taylor.
Right, sure. No, it was just, it worked, though. Like, whenever I met people, and we can talk about that. It's like, it was a stupid nickname, but I thought, a lot of people have nicknames. And Tater, like, people would go, Taylor? I go, no, Tater. I'm from the South, and I'm Irish.
Mashed taters.
Yeah, I'm mashed tater. Not
fried
anymore.
taters.
I used to be fried. I used to be fried taters, and
Like
yeah.
Sling
Now
Blade.
I'm sweet tater.
Some of them French fried taters.
Now I'm godly tater. And praise the Lord tater.
Holy tater.
Holy tater. Yeah, church tater.
Whenever you guys are ready.
All right. Are you ready? You guys ready?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Let's rock.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is East Tennessee.